All right, guys, welcome to the NC Fit Club team call for February the 23rd. Man, it feels like, I can't believe this year's kind of going by fast. The cruise is going to be here before you know it and all kinds of stuff. I don't think we really have a lot of housekeeping tips to get out of the way before I introduce Jamie, but I wanted to just mention Nicole Ambrose and Lauren Belcher and myself are all going to do a 1 hour what is coaching webinar Thursday night. So I'll give you guys more information on that. I've been kind of throwing a lot of stuff on the page with this call and different things that we're doing. So I didn't want to hit you up with too much at once and it'd be overload. So I'll start posting about that tomorrow. Anything you want to add that you can think of before I introduce her? Okay. So Jamie, I just realized I forgot to ask you all your credentials. So you may have to jump in here and help me do this. Jamie Shepard is a new but fastly growing to be a good friend of mine and Alicia's. She and I are in a mastermind call together, and we've gotten to know each other. And she's going to talk a lot about tonight about one of the things that you guys said was a big weakness for you, which is coaching and what, recruiting coaches into your business and growing your teams and what that looks like, because I know that can be very scary for a lot of people. And she's going to talk about some other stuff, and she'll also open it up for questions at the end. So help me out with this. You are a 2-time elite, correct?
Yes.
And 6-star?
6-star in my first and 2-star in my second, and I will be officially Emerald Thursday in my third.
Sweet. Well, congratulations. And so it is an honor to have her on this call. And she's one of these coaches. And the reason why I'm so excited about having her on the call is because she seems to be really good at coming up with these amazing ideas, which I know she's going to talk about one, and I've teased the Coach Basics emails already. But I'm just excited because the more I get to know her and the more I watch her and hear her speak, the more I'm like, ooh, can I get some more info for that? Can I get some more about that? Will you tell me more about that? So without further ado, I'm going to mute myself and turn it over to you. Welcome, Jamie Shepard. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. And I've got some stuff prepared to chat, but if at any point you want to interrupt, like, that doesn't throw me off at all. So if anybody has a question that you want me to pause, and then Todd, you can just chime in if you want. So, but hello, I'm really excited to spend time with y'all tonight and share what is my very, very favorite thing is growing my team and recruiting. Even though recruiting isn't necessarily my favorite term to use, not that there's anything bad with it, but I just like looking at growing my tribe and the team culture of it all. But it really is one of my favorite aspects of the business. But it didn't start off that way. So to rewind a little bit, I started coaching about 2.5 years ago, just about. My upline coach is Stephanie Davies, and she and I waited tables together in Portland, Oregon, which was my second job, or actually maybe even my third at sometimes. But I was a full-time school counselor. I was in my 12th year, and she had stopped waiting tables about a year before to pursue real estate and got married and had a baby. And then all of a sudden she's talking about this new job in her Facebook, and all of a sudden it was really fitnessy, and I know she was a runner and things like that, but I had gotten my spin cert once upon a time, my pre and postnatal certification. I just finished my yoga training, my yoga teacher training, and I would have loved to pursue a career in fitness as a second job, but waiting tables just honestly paid more. And it was a little easier to flex into my schedule. And if I had to make more money, I could pick up shifts or stay late. But it was also kind of killing me at the same time because I would be waiting tables till 3 a.m. on Friday, Saturday night, 11 on Sunday, go back to work at school at 6, 7 a.m. the next week. And then as a school counselor, or just as an educator, you don't work just 40 hours. You work until the job's done, which it usually is never done. So I was sick and tired all the time, like literally was just constantly sick. I thought I was an elementary school counselor, and I just kind of resigned myself to all the hugs and boogery hugs were just going to keep me sick all the time. But I think it was just that I was burning the candle at both ends and was just really more and more unhappy with the path that I was headed. My income actually went down 3 years in a row instead of going up, which because of budget cuts and furlough days and insurance hikes, I switched districts and got, all my steps didn't transfer over. And I just, I'm in my 30s, and I was just like, this isn't really how I planned things. And I found that I was more excited about lottery tickets and the potential of winning the Powerball than anything. And I didn't really think that was a really great plan for long term. So anyway, this business popped into my Facebook newsfeed, and I was watching what she was doing a little bit. I was curious. I actually scoured her social media trying to figure out what company it was. She didn't put Beachbody anywhere in a post. And if I had found it, I would have Googled it and I would have made my own decisions. But so I just had to watch and figure out what she was doing. And it was a picture of her at a place I really love to eat in Portland, and some other local girls having a networking dinner and just kind of taking fun pictures. And I just had to ask what she was doing. I was like, I want girlfriends. I want time to go and work where I'm having fun and eating, drinking margaritas. And she came over and we just chatted, and I jumped right in. But I was not successful right away. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was really secretive. I was, as an educator, you kind of have to be a little private about what you do. You have to, you have to be mindful of that. You've got administrators and parents and teachers who have a say in your job. And so I had to be a little bit private, but I was also I used that as a shield, as an excuse why I didn't post pictures. I wasn't putting my face in posts or telling my story or talking about why I didn't want to be a school counselor anymore. Because at the time I just saw it as an opportunity to maybe not wait tables anymore. And so I didn't, at the time we didn't have Coach Basics or any kind of training or anything like that. And my coach stuff was still relatively new too, and we just figured it out together. But I really struggled. I didn't hit Success Club the first couple months. I tried so hard to get to Emerald and failed. And I was just really left questioning, like, is this the type of business, is this cut out? Am I cut out for this? Like, is there a place for me in this business? Because I don't like cooking. I don't have kids. I'm not a mom. I don't fit into this, picturesque, like, coach. I like yoga, and I like going to, Zumba. And anyway, and it was Super Saturday rolled around, and Amy Silverman at the time was living in Portland, and she was leading the Super Saturday, and she was just her in all her Amy Silverman glory. I had no idea who she was, but she was, a confident hot mess that I could relate to. And I just saw a little bit of myself in her, and I loved how passionate she was and how proud she was to be a coach, and how empowered she felt because of all that it had done for her life. And there was so much of her story that really, like, I connected with on a really deep level. And so I left that event feeling really fired up and excited. And for the first time, I felt like proud to share with people about what I was doing. I hadn't told even my friends and family that I was coaching. And even when Steph announced me as a new coach, I think I probably hid it from my newsfeed because I didn't want people to know. Not that there was anything to be ashamed of. I was just fearful. I let that fear hold me back. And so it was at that point I really decided to take a long, hard look at what I'd been doing and what wasn't working. And sharing was really where it started. And I did post diligently on social media every day, but it was like, something from Pinterest or Google Image, like a quote or an article or WOD Wednesday that I would Google. And so I quickly realized that it was, we attract what we put out. And so I wasn't attracting challengers. I wasn't attracting coaches. I was just maybe looking for people who like to click like on really awesome quotes of the day. So I took some time to really study the compensation plan and recognize that I could retail my butt off and get Success Club points and sell challenge packs or programs and earn a little bit of income every month. But the real money in the business came from growing a successful team. And really that was the allure of this business. I mean, you can be a salesperson at any store and earn a commission. Most sales jobs you can get bonuses and commissions, but the beauty of network marketing and the appeal to it that many of us were attracted to is that make money while you sleep aspect. Would you agree with that? That the big earning potential, like that you couldn't get really anywhere else? I knew that was possible and it appealed to me, but I didn't really quite connect the fact that my actions weren't getting me there. And that really you're not open for business until you're Emerald, because you're only income is how much you can retail. And I knew I didn't like retailing. I didn't like inviting. I didn't like having to go hustle and find people. I wanted people to come to me, which was at the time kind of a dream, but I knew there was a wake-up call around that time too that was talking about jab, 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 right hook, the book about social media marketing like Gary Vaynerchuk. And if you haven't read it, it was a game changer for me because it really gave me the tools and a pipeline to start attracting people to me and understand what that was. And the team I inherited is an amazing team. Brittany Bott, Stephanie Chico, Nikki Whiting. That's my upline. But they're all minor league baseball wives. Stay-at-home moms. They all, a lot of them have babies. And so I was trying to do the success leaves clues of what I saw them doing. Okay? And it didn't work because that wasn't me. I don't have kids. I'm not married. I'm just, a granola girl from Oregon. And so I had to start really identifying with what I was and putting my own hopes and dreams, my own personality out there. And at that point, I had to decide if I was going to do this. Because right before Super Saturday, I had messaged Steph, and I don't have a quit bone. I tell my team a lot, I don't have a quit bone. And I definitely don't like failing at things. But I'm also not dumb. And I didn't want to be doing something I didn't fit into. And I think what Amy Silverman gave me was another example of what coaching could look like outside of my, about outside of the team that I had planted myself in, which was a great team. But I just, you have to find those people, those commonalities. And so I decided that I was going to do this and I was going to give it a year. And that's my first tip is that you just have to decide for recruiting and team growth is you have to decide. You have to make a commitment that you are going to give this time to grow because it won't happen in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. You've heard it before, I'm sure, but on my team, we talk about being here for a year. So hashtag be here in 1 year. You have to really mentally own that before I think you even have the right to grow a team because it's not fair to tell people I'm going to mentor you, I'm going to lead you, but then you get, then it stops. You realize that it takes work and patience, and it's not like overnight, thousands of dollars in your checking account every week. And then as you're waffling up and down, you create a culture of abandoned coaches, and that's not healthy for the network. That's not healthy for your team. And all it does is bring people to you and then kind of abandon them a little bit. And which then is a self-perpetuating cycle. So I really think you have to spend some time committing to yourself that you're going to be the leader that you want to have, and you're going to be a leader of the people that are trusting you deserve you to be. That doesn't mean you have to know everything before you start growing a team at all. It just means that you're committing to figuring it out and learning along the way with them. And you can fake it till you make it, or you can just be totally honest and open and be like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm not going to leave your side. Either way, be you and plug yourself into the team that you're in. You have a great resource in Todd and Alicia, an amazing team that's been doing this for a really long time. So it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for a week. If you know you're going to give this the time it needs, start recruiting. Open those doors for business. Get to Emerald as fast as you can. But then also know that you're not going to abandon, promise yourself and your coach, but mostly yourself, that you're not going to abandon them. And I say that because that's what I saw a lot in my first year was people who would bring folks in and then decide they didn't feel like it that month and then go MIA, and it just creates this domino effect. They're joining you because they like you, because they like something that you have to offer. And then that builds on my second tip is like attracts like. So what are you putting out there? Are you talking about fitness? Then you're going to attract people that are really into fitness. If you're talking about weight loss, you're probably going to attract challengers. If you're talking about food a lot, you're going to attract people who want to talk about nutrition. So if your goal is to grow a team, you need to be talking about growing about your business. So I would encourage you guys to all, after spend some time in the next day or two, to really do a self-reflection and an inventory on your social media, like the last 10 to 15 posts on your feed. If you were to look at it from just an average Joe who just says, oh, who are you? I want to go look at your page. They should be able to see every day you talking about your business in your posts. And I don't think in the first year you necessarily need to mention Beachbody much. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't want my team to give anything Googleable. because I know my own story is what my truth is. And if I had had something I could have Googled from Steph's page, I would have Googled it. I would have made my own, ignorant decisions about network marketing or pyramid schemes, or the name Beachbody was a turnoff to me because I don't have a beach body and that wasn't my physical goal. But I liked her. I trusted her. I loved the energy she was putting out. And she was talking about what this business had done for her family in just 2 months' time. And that lit a little spark of hope and excitement in me, and that's what attracted me. So every day be posting about your business, whether it's your online health and fitness coaching, however you talk about yourself, whatever title you've coined yourself, but reference it. And what I like to train my team to do is make a list of 30 things they love about this business. Like, sit down and actually give yourself the assignment to list 30 things you like about this business, what it's given you, what you're gaining from it, what you hope to gain from it, how it's changed you. And then make that list, like type it up, make it a nice little pictograph in Canva, or just print it up and stick it somewhere next to wherever you work every day. And then as you're planning your social media posts, make sure you're working through that list regularly. You're not always just touching on the top 3, that you're really giving a comprehensive picture of what you're posting about. Bonnie Engels talked about it in a call recently, like how she treats her social media like a sneak peek or an open house. So you can look at it from that. I thought that was a really nice way of a perspective to offer it. But basically, you're planting seeds about all the things you love about it, and the people that are following you, because like attracts like, and you're gonna attract your tribe and people that like you because of what you're sharing. You want to make sure you're giving them more than just one little kernel to grab onto. Because maybe it's that you really like that you have a mobile office, but is that enough? Is that enough for someone else who's like, oh, that would be nice to have a mobile office, but is that enough to get them to go to the next step? So give them a nice comprehensive picture, and then you have to repeat it, because they might need to hear, most people need to hear something 3, 5, 10 times before it sinks in. If you think about how many times you have to tell your kids the same thing over and over again before, it sinks in, or conversations. That's just how human interaction works. You have to repeat and keep watering those seeds over and over again. So when you make that list, think about why you joined. Okay, think about what objections you had. Think about what attracted you to this, what continues to attract you to this. And that list can evolve over time, and it could be a partner activity that you do with your success partners, or in your training group, or in your team page. Like, you can share lists and even pull ideas off of other people's lists. I love looking at other people's lists and thinking sometimes like, oh, I didn't even think about that one. And then I'll add it in there, because who knows, someone else might need to hear it. I might craft a post around it. And if it's not true for my story, you can always use someone else's story to tell that message. And with that, there's that implied message that you should be planning your social media, kind of having an intention. So use your social media, and I don't know how much time you guys spend talking about social media, but I'm going to go back, to jab, 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 right hook, but it is your opportunity. It's your place to be interesting and to brand yourself. And the more you really focus on adding value, okay, and what you represent. So think about the things that people know you for. So like, I've got 2 fluffy dogs, so people are going to think of, like, I get people sending me stuff about puppies all the time, and yoga, traveling, Oregon, things like that. So what are the things that make you beyond being a Beachbody coach, or beyond being a mom, or beyond being, a teacher? Think about those other aspects of your personality, and then give yourself permission to kind of own those things and rock it and find a way to leverage it. So for me, I really love yoga. And while yoga is still kind of fitnessy, it doesn't necessarily fit into the Insanity T25 Body Beast world, but I make it work because it's just about the energy you put out there. And I tie it all in with the health and fitness aspect as well. So it's just one, I think of Beachbody Coach as one hat of the rest of yourself, so you stay multidimensional and interesting. Because you don't want someone to think you're just a one-dimensional kind of fitness freak, that there's nothing else going on in your life. So keep them engaged in other things that you're passionate about. If you've got causes that you're really passionate about, or volunteering, or just your faith. Like, think of, I like 5 to 7 things kind of max, because if you're too varied in your posts, then you're also going to limit yourself, because you're not doing a good job really digging deep with those folks that are going to be kind of what you call and this is a different topic, but your ideal coach avatar. And I think that's been talked on the National Wake Up Call a couple of times recently, but you're really looking at like your ideal coach, just like we would our ideal customer. So be talking to that person. So figure out who your ideal coach is, your dream coach. And then as you're writing your messages, your posts, you're kind of envisioning that person and you're talking to them. So often it's going to be someone that is reflective of who you were and are and will be. And you're going to just kind of craft a message there. And just trust that like attracts like. In your social media, you should be making sure people know that, yes, you are a health and fitness coach. Hey, you run health and fitness groups. Okay, and then you love what you do and why, and that they can do it too. So that when you're doing your self-inventory, it should be really clear if someone goes through the last 10 to 15 posts of yours, those 4 components. That you're a coach, you're an online health and fitness coach, you run health and fitness challenge groups, that you love what you do and why you love it, and that they can do it too. So those right hooks, those call to action posts need to be infused regularly. So I have a dog that's making a lot of noise. Hold on. You're not helping things, buddy. You found the raspberry container. So doing those help, whether it's a help wanted post or an open house or a webinar, I like to do it all, like keep throwing those seeds out, because you're going to find folks that are going to be comfortable to commit at different levels. Some folks would really be open to the fly on the wall opportunity of a webinar, or just to record, they can go and watch it in bed one night. Some people want that cozy private place to interact in a sneak peek group. Some folks don't want anyone to know, that they just want to keep watching, and maybe one day they just are ready to pull the trigger. So, but you just have to continue to remind them. But then also don't be afraid to give a sense of urgency. I found if I give like a limited number of spots, or even do a countdown, and sometimes I'll even have like a theme to my campaign for recruiting. But I also don't just wait till one time of the month to recruit and grow a team. I'm not waiting for sneak peeks. I'm constantly talking about coaching. And I plant that seed with everyone, including challengers. And I look for every challenger I have, whether they're a free challenger, or they paid for a challenge pack, I'm going to plant that seed about coaching with every single person. Because I truly believe that every person can be successful at coaching if they have a heart for helping people and they're willing to give it consistency and time. But I'm explicit with them about why I think they'd be a good coach. And then ask, have you ever considered coaching? But I want, just like our challengers, we need to breathe life and belief into them. We also have to breathe life and belief into coaches too. Because I don't know that, I'm sure if we did a survey, not everybody on this call came into this business thinking, yep, I'm going to be a top 10 coach. You might have been unsure or doubtful, or maybe you just came in for the discount and you're like, well, I don't know if I'd be good at this. But but you are rocking it, but it might take some time and just for your own self to work through insecurities or fears. And I think that's a great role you can play as a mentor and as an upline coach, is to give that room. You don't want to, give that room to help people get to that point where they're feeling, they have that I'm a badass kind of moment. And that doesn't happen in 1 month or 6 months. Sometimes it takes people kind of a long time. So just be planting that seed and giving the opportunity there for everyone on different levels. Does anyone have questions about that? That was kind of a bigger one.
Let me ask you a question that I was writing down. How many coaches would you say come to you through social media versus challenge groups? Like how many are your new coaches? Like what would you say the percentage of them are people that were your customers and that were in your challenge group that you built relationships with? And how many of them would you say are coming to you through social media, which is the stuff you were just talking about, the sneak peeks and all that?
80%.
Of which one?
Of come to me as after a call to action of some sort, or a sneak peek, or they'll just say, okay, Jamie, I've finally been watching. I need to know more about this.
So only 20, you would say 80% are coming from social media and 20% from your challenge groups?
Yeah, but most of my challenge groups, I run them a little different. Like I use my challenge groups as a place to train my new coaches. I'm not like, my passion is recruiting and leading my team and growing my team and helping them be successful and duplicate this. And I run challenge groups twice a month. And I do have challengers that come in, but I would say out of that 20% that come from challenge groups, 50, like the majority of those, maybe all but 9 out of 10, become a coach from day one with their challenge. They start out as a discount coach, so they don't start out as a challenger and then move through the continuum. They become. I present the discount coaching opportunity as they're signing up, and then some will upgrade later and some don't ever. But I have probably about a 95% ratio of challengers that are coaches or start as discount. Or they upgrade at a different point, because I think that while most of my coaches don't come from challenge groups, I think some of the best coaches do come from challenge groups. So I also don't want to limit myself from not having, always have great challenge groups running. I lead my new team, my new coaches. In their first month, they're getting their results in challenge groups. They're working through the program and the training emails while they're kind of creating habits, those habits of a challenger of working out every day, drinking their shake every day. And we just focus on that and posting. And then I start helping them lead challenge groups. And I'm inviting to that. I do call to actions for that too. So I don't neglect that aspect of it. I just focus more heavily on the business aspect. And a lot of I do a lot of free challenges. Those are a little bit more fun for me because they're shorter. I'm too ADD, so I don't get bored with the 28-day challenge group a lot. And so the free challenge groups are nice. And then I find that a lot of my Instagram and social media people they're more excited about a 7 to 10-day group. And then those folks, I'll get them on a Beachbody On Demand free trial. I'll give them workout plan for a week, a trial kit of Shakeology that I'll sell them. And then those folks, and then usually we go into a full challenge group from there, usually as a coach. So.
Another question, and you actually gave me another question, but I'm going to wait and bring it up later because you hit on something that I think is important that I would love for them to hear you kind of answer this the way you would do it. I think I see one of the biggest problems with new coaches is figuring out what their brand is. And what I loved about what I heard you say was how first of all, I'm learning a lot about you in this call that I didn't know. I love the fact that you're not the stereotypical stay-at-home mom with kids, which is what I would say a majority of the women are. So it's nice to hear you say, look, I didn't fit that mold. I figured out what my own brand was. And I have this conversation so many times with coaches. They're like, I don't know what my brand is. I can't figure out how to brand myself. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you kind of I feel like there were some tips in there. Can you expand on that a little bit? Because I think that's a big struggle.
Yeah, I think that it's just, I really struggled. I really struggled with that. And that was what really held me back. It took away the joy from the business because I was trying to fit myself into what I thought was a coach should look like, what I saw the coaches that were successful around me looking like, the box. I was trying to put myself in this box. And really it's just giving yourself permission to be who you are. And that's your brand. You are your brand. And the way you are right now, the things that have made you are, that's your personality. That is your tribe. You're going to find people just like you. If you give yourself permission to kind of overact those aspects of your personality, and you just kind of, and it can be something super simple, but, and I think, Melanie Bolin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Melanie Bolin is a good friend of mine, and we went to Italy, but she's way into Comic-Con. She she's also a Group X instructor. She is really into My Little Pony. It's really random stuff that it works for her. She just rocks it because she's proud of it, and she just owns who she is and her personality. And she has attracted a great team and tribe over time with just that. So your brand is you. So for me, I'm a terrible cook. I just am. I burn toast. And I just kind of had to stop pretending like I was making, I would sharing recipes of stuff that I would probably lose interest in halfway through prepping. And I just kind of started owning the fact that I'm into something that takes 10 minutes or less to cook. That's my brand. I like traveling. Anything I can put a stamp on my passport, that's what I love. So just start thinking about the things that you love or the lifestyle you would want to live if you won the lottery. And spend time creating some hobbies, or just giving yourself time to, permission to focus on some hobbies. Another activity you can do is, like, if you're on Pinterest at all, like we did this in a training I did for my team, like attraction, we started just learning how to brand ourselves, is go create a board on Pinterest and just spend 20 minutes clicking on, like, pinning stuff to this board. We call it a mood board. Like, just start going through the feed and pinning the stuff you like. And then go and reflect on the stuff you pinned and see what you liked. Like, for me, I have long blonde hair. It's up in a bun now. But I found I pinned a bunch of braids, like fun hair stuff. And I'm not really a girly girl. Like, I'm not really that into hair stuff. But I was like, oh, guess I really like, just the idea of doing some fun, girly stuff. So I give myself permission to, like, do fashion type posts sometimes. But also, like, that also helped me come up with my theme, my brand, in terms of, like, the colors I like, the fonts I like. So you can create some consistency there in your posts too. And which is kind of a different level of your brand, because you've got your niche and the things that make you, the hobbies, personality, your likes, your fears, what hopes and dreams that you have. Your tribe is going to have that too. That's your brand. And so those are things to be talking about. But also, there's that brand. You can brand yourself just like, a Target commercial before it says Target. An Apple commercial before you see the apple. Because there are elements to their style and their the filters they use and the landscaping they use that is always very consistent and reliable and trustworthy. So those are the things you can kind of start figuring out what your personality is there, and give a personality just to your pictures. Through branding. I don't know if that helps at all, but
it does. And I got one more thing, and then I promise I hope I didn't mess you up, because
no, you're fine.
When I'm taking notes, that tells me that there's something to it, which is obviously good. I liked what you said about when you saw Amy. Was it Amy Silverman? You said when you saw her at Super Saturday, and you talked about how Amy came across, about how she was proud to be a coach. And it kind of hit me when you said that, because I would love for you to expand on this, and maybe this will come up in the Q&A, is that I see a lot of coaches, including myself. I remember what it was like when we first started, that fear of rejection, the fear of actually presenting this business opportunity to somebody. And I think obviously one of the first fears you come across is the pyramid scheme rejection and that kind of stuff with network marketing, especially if you've never done it before. But I also think when you said that, I had this light bulb moment of wondering if it's a matter of we forget why we sign up to be a coach, and we forget what this opportunity allows us. And like the list, writing down the 30 things that you like about your business is genius. Again, another idea that I'm stealing from you, because I wonder why sometimes I don't post enough about the coaching opportunity. And then I'm like, well, crap, I don't have a list of 30 things to pull from. So, like, what do you say to coaches? They're like, I'm just afraid of rejection, or they just don't have that confidence yet. Do you think that's what it is, or is it more than that?
No, I really think it's a fear. It's a fear of failure. It's a fear of rejection. It's a fear of people judging you poorly, or thinking something negative. It really stems from whatever your objections were. Like, usually you're fearful of whatever thoughts you had before you came into the business, And so, the list of 30 things definitely helps. Lots of pep talks from me and the upline, like, really helps. Like, just tell me we have to go rhino skin. And then you have to decide how badly you want this. And at the beginning, though, you can't, like, give someone passion for them. They have to kind of come into that on their own too. And so that does take time. So for me, like, I stopped having branding coaches run groups by themselves, because I felt like that was just a taste of disappointment and rejection from day one that wasn't necessary. So focusing on those things that do feel good, like getting a doing a 21-day fix, or getting some physical results that feel good, or connecting them with a small group of coaches and creating friendships, finding some good posts, or just doing lots. So we do a lot of recognition on my team. I have recognition for everything. And maybe it's overkill, but it gives those butterflies and those feel goods early on, when maybe there are not getting, there's not a lot of them outside of what we're giving them explicitly. And so, but it is just also, it's harder for brand new coaches to jump right into PD because all the training is PD. You know, there's so much to learn. But there is just a matter of making sure they're plugging into something positive. I do have a file, which I don't know that I like steer coaches to it very often, but there is, I do a file in my team page of just like some videos that I found that coaches have made over time that are just make me cry, like Chelsea Pearson when she paid off like her last $20,000 of student loans, and Mindy Winder paid off her house in cash so that they could focus on, you know, their daughter's autism medical bills. You know, there's just a lot of videos out there really great of, you know, so many successful coaches, and they've done amazing things for their family and their communities with this business. And those are the things that gave me hope early on. So I try to collect those and then give them a place I can plug people into that. And then anytime I see you know, income's a hard one to share, but I think, and some people are going to be put off by it, but for me, that motivated me. It reminded me like, okay, there's something bigger here than this $50 paycheck that I'm going, whoo, big deal. Like I'm seeing someone a year ahead of me in this business earning $7,000 in a week. So why not me? And I think that and that kept me going. And so I try to plant little seeds like that in my team. And then we do just a lot of shout outs built out we have shout out Saturday, and I've really helped train my leaders to like make sure they're shouting people, not their PS coaches, like looking explicitly for other people in the downline, whether it's one generation down or cross line within our team, and they're shouting out people. Anytime I see a new coach, like I truly try to, I'm going to have a lot of new coaches, but I try to, anyone who's working and trying, you know, and showing up every day, like I'll try to find things to, either if it's a private message or a voice message, or I'll just share one of their posts and then the team page and their first call to action. Like, you know, look, you guys, like this is her first Transformation Tuesday picture. Like, let's go give her some love. Things like that just continue to kind of buffer the scary stuff. Because if they're just sitting there alone in a room with no community and all they're hearing is like, crickets in their messages, or people saying no, or even those folks that are like, oh, Shakeology's got lead in it, you know, or just the people like, you don't have all of the knowledge when you're a brand new coach, and they're fearful of someone, they don't want to speak up and get the answers, especially that pyramid scheme thing. Like that was a paralyzing question for me until I actually Googled it and figured out how to answer that question. And Lindsay Matway, I started with Lindsay Matway's video, and then that gave me enough information to go and research some other stuff. And then, was able to type up a response, and I saved in a note on my phone, and I had that to equip myself. And then my fear of pyramid scheme question went away because I had the tools and the knowledge to address it, because I was only fearful of it because I didn't know what to say and how to say it correctly. And I think most of the time, same with objections, like I'm only fearful of an objection until I know how to navigate it. And so scripts really help, templates really help, but then also just kind of making sure people know they have a pipeline to sharing those questions and sharing those examples. And a lot of coaches are really fearful, I was fearful of like showing someone a message so they would see how terrible I was doing at private but I think the more you can kind of create a community where where you're expecting people and you're asking to see messages, and you can kind of help. Even just sometimes it's just one word, one sentence can like take a really great invite and just kind of throw it off course. If you just lead, like we were talking about last week on my team called Todd, just leading with the products versus, and that even just someone shared in one of our groups today, like her first line was about products and prices. And I was like, and then the rest of the message was good, but she opened with products and prices. And so just kind of helping tweak that so that she can find more success early on too. So I think I'm on a tangent now, but.
No. It's awesome. I just took 5 more notes. So I'm done. So keep going. I don't want to stop you. So I don't want to take away from their Q&A.
Okay. So I'll just go through. I've got 3 other points for my top tips for recruiting. Social media is really where 90% of your effort really needs to go. And then just planting that seed with everyone. But and I touched on it already, but number 3 is don't discount a discount coach. I don't have many pet peeves, but I will say my number 1 pet peeve is when people are like, oh, I don't want discount coaches. I want business building coaches. So I have 5 girls pushing for diamond, and 3 of them, that are like really close to diamond, 3 of them started as a discount coach. No intentions of ever coaching in October. And because they just want to do a challenge group, and I always offer at the very end, say like, hey, you have the opportunity to sign up as a coach for free at the same time with your challenge pack. Here are some benefits of it. You can cancel anytime. You never have to sale. But if you ever wanted to, you would have an active link. And I kind of have my spiel there. They usually always kind of like, yeah, that sounds great, because we're talking about a relationship that goes beyond just 1 month, 1 challenge group. We're looking at long-term goals. And so because they know that they're going to be drinking Shakeology for more than just 21 days, the savings seed alone usually wins them over. But what I've found is that a lot of folks, especially the ones that are coming to me about a challenge group, have that seed because they always am talking about the business. There's a seed planted in their brain somewhere about the possibility of them coaching, but they're overwhelmed or they're scared of it, and they don't want to say like, I'm going to go do this, because they're not even sure they can finish a program first. So giving them an opportunity to be a coach, but on like almost a coach in camouflage, like a coach in disguise, then they have then it feels a little bit more empowering. And then once they get going, they see that really anybody can be successful in this, period. And it gives them a nice gateway to go in. But I also treat my discount coaches like an active coach. They go on my team page. I tag them I made a little orientation video where I kind of toured them through my team page and how to sign up for coach training and the coach online office so they can order if they need to change anything. I made a little video tour. So they get tagged in that, and they know where the resources are within the file section, within the Google Drive, how to sign up for the training emails. And then I make sure I support them as a challenger, but I also let them know that they're part of our team. It's just a matter of they have different goals than me, and those can change at any time. And then I do now have like a discount coach email series so they know how to change their Shakeology and cancel. But I generally just treat them the same as any coach. And I think that the more they can see the other coaches in our team, they can identify with other people. And I think that's the best gift you can give people is to, especially like running your challenge groups with other coaches, so that they can see it's not just, they don't know, their inbox, their newsfeed isn't flooded with other Beachbody coaches like ours is. So it's hard to remember sometimes that because we are surrounded by all these great examples, the folks that we're working with probably aren't, and you are their example of a Beachbody coach. So the more you can kind of give them a taste of other folks, then they're going to see like, oh, wow, really, anybody can do this. Because even if they see themselves in you, they might not think they have anybody else that would, want to do this. And so the more they can kind of see other people, I think it also reminds them that, oh, hey, like, that reminds me of my coworker, something like that. So treat them so don't discount a discount coach. Just period. And if you go to Super Saturdays a lot, it's so funny when you hear those success stories at the beginning. Most all of them say, well, it's a discount coach for a year. And I noticed that, at the Super Saturdays. I'm like, okay, I need to start really. And that was something I set an intention at the beginning of last year. And every single challenger, I gave them that option. And seriously, like 9 out of 10 will say, yeah, let's do it. And most of them stay active. I mean, I don't put a lot of pressure on discount coaches to keep active. I don't want to make sure my rank isn't reliant on a bunch of discount coaches, but they pad it. They help kind of keep it padded. I have my other half, he's diamond, and his rank is nice and padded with discount coaches. So it gives them, I can kind of focus on building my own CVCs for elite purposes. But the next one is live events, and I've already touched on it a lot in I'm sharing, but I think that live events are the most important thing you can be doing. And actually, I kind of require my diamonds, not that I'm like their boss or bossy with them, but we're doing an elite focus group for the year. And their requirement by me to be in this group for the year was to hit Success Club, to do 1 live event a month. And if it's a non-Super Saturday month, they have to play in one, and to create 2 recognition systems for their downline team that they recognize their team for. Because I think those are the biggest things you can do to create a team culture, which keeps people going. So for me, it was a live event that kept me going. I wasn't really going to quit, but I definitely wasn't finding that passion and love for coaching. But Super Saturday lit me up. Summit was so fun. The Success Club cruise was so fun, but it really was seeing Steph added a networking dinner with other local coaches, which basically they just went to dinner and had margaritas and chips and salsa, and took pictures. Like, that was what caught me, though. And so, and as a school counselor, I would go back to Maslow's hierarchy of basic needs. We all had the basic needs to be safe, to have food, water, shelter. But we also, our basic need is to belong. And as we get older and older, we lose that community. We lose our college clubs. We lose soccer teams. We lose, especially for parents that are home with kids, they don't even have the colleagues, the coworkers. And so Beachbody gives us this amazing community of folks with a similar heart and vision and goals in life. So create those live events. I organize like Habitat for Humanity builds and volunteering opportunities. And wherever I'm living, we do like coach training nights, which is something I do with the market council, but basically like bringing coaches together and like having a local leader or diamond like do a training on a topic. We've done like clothing swap parties or just going out to dinner. Fit clubs, your team name is NC Fit Club. Fit clubs are huge. They're so much fun. Everyone that's ever come to a fit club of mine has ended up signing up as a challenger, as a coach, because it gives them a taste of what we have. That it's really hard to wrap your brain around when all you see is social media. Some people need to know that there's like human flesh, there's human people to connect with. And if you don't have your own downline team or your crossline team to connect with in your town, that's okay. But I guarantee there are other Beachbody coaches out there. Go connect with them. Like, Todd, we're not related lineologically. Is that a word? Like, we're not like related in any way in like the network. But I've learned so much, and it's like a new friend. And a lot of my, become my best friends in the world are people that I met through coaching that aren't in they're not in my family in the Beachbody world. But they're awesome people, because I don't think I've met a Beachbody coach I wouldn't welcome into my home ever. So, and then the last tip is just to master how to talk about the business. And someone actually said to me recently, like, you can't, what was the quote? Who said this? You can't give, you can give like the worst pitch. It's like, anyway, I don't want to butcher it, but it'll come to me in a minute. But it's basically like you can give the worst pitch to the right person, okay, but you can give the best pitch in the world to the wrong person. So it's not really about like having it all mastered. It's just about sharing, because it could be like a terrible business presentation. You could fumble your words. You could not have any of the answers to their questions. But if it's the right time and it's the right person, that doesn't matter. But I think what really has to be there is that excitement for it and that passion. If you're not excited about coaching and about your business or about your challenge groups, then why would anybody else be? Period. Like, you have to be excited for them to want to join, because if you're not excited, they're going to trust your commitment. If it works, like, what is there to love if you don't love it? And so sometimes it's having faith, like a faith it till you make it kind of thing. But also you can become really skillful in how you talk about it. So what I did, because I was inviting, was where was my own paralysis, is I would listen to What is Coaching calls. The recording, I would listen to them, and I would pay attention to the language they use, the word choice they used, how they would address objections through telling them their story. And I would probably listen to the same ones like 10, 15, 20 times. I'd play them in my car. I was driving home, and I would just kind of just try to find my own words in that. And then just go for it. Just go for it. Just plan, like, make a list of every single challenger you have and give them a thanks for being in my group. I'm so happy to have you in there. Have you ever considered doing what I do as a coach? I think you would be amazing because, and then give them 2 reasons that are specific to them that they would be amazing. When I was a counselor and I have to work with teachers on positive behavior, and kids need 10 to 1, like a 10 positive to 1 negative. So I think about we all kind of need that. But if even the most terrible kid in the world that just is so behaviorally challenged, you can always find something that they're doing really well. And I would joke with teachers, like, okay, are they breathing quietly? Like, find something that you can praise them for, because that's what they're going to hold on to. So think of 2 things that they could, even if they've never posted, they're not engaging, sometimes, it might be a little bit more challenging, but it's a good exercise to really look for the best in people. And I'm just going to challenge you to not wait for your upline to do a sneak peek and not wait for your upline to do a coach training group. And that was really what instigated my, like, when I shifted training, I did Coach Basics groups for a year, and they just didn't work. When I was first starting, my coach had Coach Basics, and I was working full time, and I was thankful I could ship my new coaches off to her, and she would train them, and then they come back ready to run. But that's not really how it works. It's like taking your dogs and sending them off to the farm to go to obedience school and coming back and expecting them to listen to you also. So I was like, okay, I've got to own this a little bit more. But also the Coach Basics, it was just kind of like the same, one person out of 20 would run through the whole group with me, and then the other 19 were feeling like they were behind from day one, which if we're saying you get to set your own pace in this business, I didn't want to give my new coaches a sense of like, I'm behind or they have to check in. And then having that stress and that kind of frustration from day one. So I switched to the auto email thing, which I've been telling Todd about, and I know he's implemented. And I think that for me, it's been the biggest game changer for my mindset, my joy, and just our team, because really you come into this business to not have a boss, right? Like I don't want to be anybody's boss. I don't want to be anybody's, someday I'll be a mom, but right now I'm happy just having 2 fur puppies. But I don't want to have to micromanage anybody. But really what I found, because I was owning everyone's training, and I would hover and I would try to protect them, and I didn't want them to struggle and fail. I know I didn't have training when I was new, and that was hard. But I held my coaches back for a really long time because I owned their training, and it was almost like trying to force feed them to keep going, and it took their control of their business out of them, and it made them really made them very codependent on me. And really the best thing you can do for your team is to make them independent. It's for you to be more independent. And to know that that's okay to be independent, but to use the system so that you're not creating your own wheel, because your time should be spent recruiting and building a team and building those relationships. So use the training systems. And by having that, you don't have to wait for the end of the month for that new coach training to recruit. You've got a tool and a system that works every single day. I have new coaches starting every day of the week. I mean, not 30, but they can start any day of the week. And then they set the pace, and they know that their success is ultimately their responsibility, because I can't want this for them. I can't build someone else's business. Same as, Todd and Alicia can't do that for you, and you can't do that for your team. So I think that it gives a sense of like, I'm responsible for me. And I always had that sense from day one. I knew I was responsible for my own success in this, but I see a lot of coaches come in thinking that I am responsible for making them successful. And that's a really weird dynamic to get into. So share, be excited, and then just go for it. You do have to kind of just get over yourself, get over your fear, and grow that rhino skin, and know that you're going to hear no so many more times than you hear yes. Like you just are. But they're always, and not yet. Always. I mean, I have yet to have one person that was straight up. I mean, my closest friends were the ones that were like, Jamie, I don't ever want to do this. You don't have to talk to me about this. 2 years later, they sign up to coach. So it'll happen. Some people just need time, and that's where you saying, I'm going to be here no matter what. It takes the pressure off of someone saying like, oh, she just wanted me, it takes the energy of that deadline away. So you know that you're just going to do your thing no matter what. And then people will join you when they're ready.
You are a rock star. And
sorry, I rambled on.
I took 2.5 pages of notes. I'm going to open it up to questions. So you guys can unmute yourselves. Well, apparently there's a lot of people on their telephones. Either that or we got a lot of phone-faced people, which is kind of freaky. So I'm going to let you guys unmute yourselves and ask questions. Who's got questions? And don't be afraid to ask them, because I'm telling you, if you don't, I've got a list of them, but I want it to be y'all's turn because I can talk to her anytime. Anybody?
Yeah, man. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Quick question for you. And yes, everything you said is awesome. I've been writing as fast as I can. So, Jamie, we really appreciate you coming online and sharing everything with us tonight. But the challenge group thing, I know you said you run 2 a month, and that seems to be the norm. And that seems to be a struggle for me trying to figure out what program to push, I guess. I don't even know if push is the right word there, but the majority of my clients are the 21-day fixers. They love that. And then I've got some that are spread out doing different programs. So it's, I struggle with saying, wow, I can do this group and get the majority of people in line, but then I'm afraid of leaving some other people out. So I'm open for a suggestion. I know everybody runs into this, so I'm anxious to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, and I think I do challenge groups a lot differently than many people in the network. I do mixed program groups only. So that way no one's ever left out. We do 21 or 28 days. Lately it's been 21 days. I kind of missed the 28 because I felt like I gave an extra week just to do some great relationship building. But all of my challenge groups are mixed program because I want to be able to make sure I'm matching people with the program they need and whatever the tools they need are, and not just because I'm doing hammer and chisel, it's not going to work for the majority of people, or just 21-day fix isn't the right program for everyone, even though it works so great for most. So, and I don't always run 2 groups a month. And if you're having a hard time juggling 2 groups a month, then just give yourself permission to just do one. And I usually will do one free one, and then a longer one. We call it a paid group just to differentiate, but it's a 1 week free group and then a 3-week paid group, and then just kind of cycle through there. But I usually have probably because I use them as a place where I use my newer coaches as a kind of a training place for challenge groups. I do seem to be on a 2-week cycle, but when I was really pushing to go full time and leave education, I would have my basic group every month, and then I would also do theme groups. And it wasn't necessarily a program theme group unless it was a new product launch. When PIO and 21-Day Fix came out, we did PIO only groups and 21-Day Fix only groups because there was in addition to my normal mixed program. But I've done Sweating for the Wedding, Mother's Day, Father's Day groups, couples groups. We did a pre and postnatal for moms. We've done a lot of different, a self-love challenge group. So the things that I just are things that I was kind of working on in my PD, and then just kind of would invite as a secondary group just to kind of bring more attention in and just kind of give a different twist and a different flavor. So I think, and then having my new coaches help lead those groups takes a lot of the pressure, because maybe it's just because I've been doing them for 2.5 years and I kind of get bored a little of it, but it gives it fresh energy all the time. And then also I'm not in charge of everything. They take on the leadership roles in that, and I'm just kind of a support in a lot of them.
Who else? Who's next?
So Jamie, at what point do you start talking about Shakeology? Because ultimately, when you're signing all these coaches, they're going to start drinking Shakeology, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at what point do you kind of introduce that to them, and how do you do that?
Well, I post a lot about Shakeology. So I found that I was getting a lot of Shakeology objections early on, but it also correlated with the fact that I wasn't really building value around it on social media. And so we just kind of, it just is part of the conversation. It's just a matter of fact, okay, this is what we do. We do programs, we're doing Shakeology, and we share about it. And I think that because I've established that that's such a big part of my own health journey, and it's a non-negotiable, that I don't really give it as it's not that it's something I introduce later. They just kind of come into the conversation knowing that it's part of the deal.
Yeah, I like how you said that's just matter of fact.
Yeah, I'm pretty straight up, and with it, when I am just talking to a challenger just about a challenge group, that I only present challenge packs. We don't talk about options. And when I sign a coach, they only sign up with a challenge pack. There is no option on my team to sign up for just $40. You sign up with a challenge pack so that you have the tools to share, because without it, then all you have is the opportunity to be kind of salesy. You can't speak from experience or firsthand. And those are just decisions that I made because I found myself spending a lot of time training folks that signed up for $40 but didn't have anything to share about, and then it didn't really work, you know.
Who's next?
I kind of wanted to piggyback off of Derek's question about the challenge groups. You said that you usually do like a mixed challenge group. Do you like, as far as like a 21-day group, like say for instance, if my challenger or I have someone that wants to do Insanity Max 30, which is a longer program, how do you usually incorporate that into the group? Like,
No, I think that's a good question, and really they'll just continue on. I use the same group page for each of my groups. I'll just change the theme, the name of the group, the cover photo. Maybe we'll have a week off in between, and I might insert a free challenge there. Just have a week off. But those folks will keep. I encourage them to continue to post their daily accountability and continue on their program. They don't get a week off from their program if it's 60 days just because we ended the 21-day. So it's just about this expectations I kind of set with them for in the one-on-one I'm doing with them, and then I just kind of bring them through that. But I think that it's helped a lot because a lot of them are coaches. They are more accountable to themselves. There's something about that mental switch. Even as a discount coach, there's a mental switch of deeper accountability and investment, because even if they're only proving to themselves, I just think I see them stick with it a lot more versus challengers kind of just doing a 30-day challenge and then kind of falling off and doing something else.
Anybody else?
So I've got a quick question. This is Eric, and thanks for your time. This has actually been super helpful, entertaining me while I was driving from the airport. Anyway, so with the release of the Beachbody Performance stuff, and obviously that being part of a challenge pack, have you seen a shift in like some of the customer base or some of the attraction around with the challenge packs relative to like more performance, kind of stuff versus the traditional challenge pack with Shakeology? I've kind of run into it a couple times myself. I'm just kind of curious on your point of view.
Yeah, I think, and I find that because the more I talk about it's like kind of what you posting about, you're gonna make your conversations flow a little easier based off of what you're posting about. And I think part of it is I do like run, and I do have but my partner he's a triathlete, and so I do attract some more endurance kind of athletes too. Not as much. I probably attract mostly yogis, but I love that we have that as an option for folks, and it's because not everyone needs Shakeology or wants that. So I actually had that or are allergic to it. I had a lot of folks that had food intolerances and couldn't drink Shakeology, so they found other ways to plug in or supplement their program with the performance line. But by having the mixed program groups, I love it when I have a challenger that's on the performance line in a challenge group, because then they can share about the performance line. They're doing their daily accountability, and and that's also another bonus of having other programs in a group, is they're kind of selling the programs for one another. So that when you're done with the 21-day fix, you're like, well, that one girl was doing that hammer and chisel one, that looked cool. Can we do that? Those are conversations I have a lot, because they're getting exposed to other items, different flavors of Shakeology, the pre and post workout, the boosts, depending on what folks have. And by having other coaches in there too, they're sharing a lot of that stuff too. And we're just I call it positive peer pressure, and we have those posts in our free challenges too for folks it builds a lot of value and trust around it.
That's helpful. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I got one real quick. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Anybody? All right. Hi, Jamie. Good to see you. Good to meet you. For someone starting out with a, like a challenge group, like I'm even trying to get like a small challenge group started. I just started as a coach. Would you think it would be wise to get everybody using the same products? Like I'm really pushing what I purchased to start out, which was the Insanity Max 30 and the Shakeology challenge pack. And I've really been pushing the people that I've been talking to about getting any sort of product about the Max 30 and the Shakeology. And I'm starting it next week. do you think it's wise to only focus on one specific product, or is it better to mix certain things together right out the gate?
I think that's a great question. And I'm going to say that I think it's really powerful to really focus on what each person needs for their own needs. So like you gave me a perfect example. Like Max 30 is an awesome program. And I was really excited to do it for 5 weeks. And then my body broke because it was just too high intense for me. And I just had to go to find, I kind of had to default back to the 21-day fix for a while and PiYo. So Max 30 isn't going to be for everyone. And you want to make sure you're getting people partnered at any point in the game with the right program for them. And so like spending time really doing a nice thorough interview, like asking them what they like and dislike, if they have any physical limitations or needs, what their average day of eating looks like, if they struggle, what have they done in the past and how did that go for them? Just really like talking to them about what they need and then giving them a couple suggestions. I usually do like 2 to 3 program suggestions based off of what they're sharing. And as a new coach, you probably won't know what to suggest. So use your team page, use your upline, say like, this is what they're saying. What do you guys suggest? And usually your team page is a great resource for that because people will be like, oh, this would be great for them. But then having a mixed group, but having in your challenge group, then they're doing their own, whatever program they're doing. And really the power of the challenge group isn't to get them to check off every day on the 60 days, is to help them create those habits. They're going to keep them healthy and moving forward long term. And so it's just the accountability in the community is, I think, for me, the powerful piece of the challenge group. It doesn't have to be a common denominator of all the same programs. And like I kind of mentioned, like having other programs and products in the same group, you're planting seeds of future purchases in your challengers. And so that's really helpful too. And it might be really nice to partner up with other new coaches. My new coaches, their first 2 or 3 groups, they are with a little cohort that I partner together, and they're running those groups in small together so that they don't have to, they can still focus on training and learning, but then their challenge groups have fun engagement and have a lot of good energy because as a new coach, it might be hard to even fill it like at 10 people or 5 people in a challenge group. And I think that of every 10 people I get in a group, maybe 1 posts regularly. Like a lot of them just like to be nice and shy and flies on the wall. And so the bigger you can get it, the more you'll get people with energy and engagement, and it gives more people, that courage to engage too.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
I have one more question. You mentioned the webinars. That's something that I've been doing a lot of research on and have been wanting to implement that soon. And forgive me if you already mentioned this and talked more about this, but I just kind of wanted just to get a little bit more of an idea of how you usually go about your webinars.
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. So I just downloaded sorry with hiccups. I just downloaded the business presentation from the back office, the Coach Online office, and then saved it into the Google Drive, and then used the Google presentations to edit the slides and kind of make it my own. But I definitely and it has evolved over time to be more and more of my own kind of presentation. But for the last year, I just basically used the slides that Beachbody has in the back office and put my pictures in there a little bit, and then I usually will co-host it with one of my leaders, and we'll each tell our story and then work through the slides, and at the end kind of talk through like what the opportunity to sign up is. And then I think it's just continuing to give people an opportunity to learn more in the webinar, and then you'll find that you get more and more confident with sharing the more you do those. So I think if you feel compelled to do a business presentation, do it. Talk to your upline about maybe co-hosting it with you one time or running through it as a rehearsal. And I think that's a great idea. And kudos to you for having the courage to just get going with that. I suggested to some of my team leaders and they're like, no. So I think it's a really powerful tool. And I use Google Hangout, the on-air. You can Google it, but if you do the Google Hangout on air, and that's just how I do mine. I know you can download like Insta Presenter. You could even probably do Zoom, But if you do Google Hangout on there and you create a live event, then it links to your YouTube, and I give folks the YouTube link so they watch it on YouTube, and it's recording it as I go, and we just tell them when it's going to start. I clicked, we log in, you click broadcast, and then it becomes, a live presentation, kind of how they do the Surge. If you've ever seen a Beachbody Surge, I think that they're using Google Hangout.
Jamie, I cannot thank you enough for your time. And shameless plug here, but because I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. She and I are going to do a video for the team tomorrow that goes into more detail as we officially launch the Coach Basics email system. But because obviously I've been using it for the past 2 weeks and seen amazing results, and one of them is on this call right now, and Brandon, who's going Emerald this Thursday, which I think is amazing. And I can't wait to love all over. Yeah, there you go. So do you mind sharing how your business grew once you presented a system that was duplicatable, that people didn't have to recreate the wheel and that could just use whenever they needed to use it?
Yes, I was, let's see, when did I start this? I started it last summer, and just to give frame of reference, I started last January. I was like an elite coach but could barely pay my rent, and my goal last year was to really just grow my income. And I let go of rank. Some of my diamonds dropped, and I just focused on income, which is volume, and just helping my coaches grow teams and sell and run groups and just stay plugged into the process and not go be here for 2 weeks and then disappear for a week. And so really it really gave them the tools to be independent and to not wait for me to tell them to do something, not wait for me to do a sneak peek until they talk to someone about coaching. And then and from there, I think our income doubled every single month last year. It just kept growing and growing and growing. And as far as diamonds, because I know that's something, the diamonds are great and they are important to me too. But we have had more diamonds grow. I think I had 5 to get to elite first year. And I think we had 6 pop last year, but then I've got a lot of star diamonds and one elite coach on my team that went elite all last year. And so it has really just created more team builders and team leaders on the leadership ladder, and just folks that are able to go full-time Beachbody, able to pay bills, relieve the stress of their family. And really, for me, my goal for my team is to have income, is to be able to have an income with their coaching business that does things for their life that matters. And just having I think that I do believe that the email training has been a huge shift, because we went from having my only one generation, my PS coaches were the only ones hitting Success Club. It wasn't something I saw duplicating down in the downline, and that was a really big problem. I'm like, why are none of your coaches hitting Success Club? It's because I train my girls and my guys, we have mostly girls, but I train my team, but then they didn't have something to then train. There's going to be a small percentage of people that'll just be able to own it and create something of their own. And so by having something that everyone had equal access to, no matter if you are 5 levels down or 1, then it gave them the tools that they needed, and they didn't have to wait for someone to tell them what to do. They were able to own their business from day one. And now, our Success Club doc every month is bursting at the seams, and we have to use the smallest print and creating more success starters. Just in general, all of our big goals are being hit, and I think it really was a shift from the just coach basics. And I do coach training groups now, but we do it theme focused. Not to take more of your time, but now we take those training groups for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and it's for folks that are wanting more information on a specific topic. And it's after they've gone through the basics. And so it's going to be more beneficial and relevant to where they're at in their business, versus just kind of a big umbrella that doesn't apply to everyone.
Gotcha. And what rank are you guys in the company? What did your?
Well, we just found 2 weeks ago we were 42.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you.
That is amazing.
Pretty proud of my team. They are kicking butt.
I'm really happy that I think everything happens for a reason, and I think there was a reason why I ended up on that Tuesday call, and thank God you happened to be on it that day, and hopefully you'll switch over to that and not be on Mondays anymore. Sorry, my cat just loves to get up here whenever.
Oh, I love it. I want a cat.
So I cannot thank you enough. Thank you. I
Yes,
can't
thank
wait
you.
to see you on the cruise. I can't
I'm
wait
so excited.
to continue to swap ideas and all that kind of stuff, and I can't say it enough. Thank you. Seriously.
No, you're welcome. Thank you. So you guys need to sign up for the in the Jamaica, the bobsledding waterfall. I just bought that excursion today. So you guys need to come bobsledding and waterfall hiking in Jamaica with us.
All right, I'll have to check that out.
Okay.
I'm definitely buying you and whoever you've got with you some drinks for everything that you've done for me the last couple of weeks.
No. That call, like, literally, you guys are so lucky to have these guys as your leaders. Todd was on our team call last week, and I heard more than 20 times. That was the best team call ever. Like, it was just a really great, everyone was so fired up and really found this excitement, and they really overcame some serious fears of inviting, which is, it's just, if you're not connecting with people, you're going to never go anywhere. So just go and just make new friends.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And thank you,
Thank you.
everybody,
Thank you.
for tuning in. And we will see you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.